All right, let's roll into the main event because this was a really good fight. All things considering, this is a really impressive main event because I mean we just saw. I don't know if a lot of people were expecting this. I was expecting. I had Sean Strickland in this one, but I wasn't necessarily expecting a fight like this where we see Strickland batter Uriah Hall over 5 rounds in his first main event fight. I mean, Sean Strickland is now on a 5-fight winning streak, and then even according to one of the judges, Mike Bell, he had a 10-8 round in round 3. And also to go alongside this almost beatdown where, I mean, in this fight, it really looked like he wasn't ever in a bad situation, I would say, throughout all 25 minutes. He was just there in the dominant position, whether he was out striking Ryan Hall on the feet, which almost no one does, or out wrestling him on the ground, which, I mean, Sean Strickland's very skilled at. And then we also saw him set a bunch of middleweight striking records. So significant strikes thrown at 428, significant strikes landed at 186, significant head strikes landed at 173, and distance strikes landed at 169. So what'd you make of this performance by Sean Strickland, and were you kind of expecting something like this to happen?
I mean, I was definitely surprised that it was as much of a beatdown as it was.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting definitely a little bit more of a competitive fight, especially since they were training partners, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that they might have a couple tricks up each other's sleeves. But really, I mean, it was just a domination by Strickland from start to finish. There was really no good moments, I think, that Uriah really strung together. I mean, he'd have a couple decent punches here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be onesie twosie. It would never be anything, and really maybe just onesie. I don't remember him ever stringing together, a combination that really stuck out in my mind. Whereas Strickland, he damn near finished him in one of the. I think it might have been the third round where he had him pressed up against the fence.
Yeah.
And had him clearly wobbled and then shot for the takedown for whatever reason. But that's just things he'll be able to go back and look on, and getting that 5-round experience is going to be huge for him, because now it's just going to be main event probably. It's either that or co-mains from now on. It's going to be big fights, big names.
He's now placed himself on the top of the card. He's not going to be a bottom of the main card guy. Definitely not going to be a prelim guy for probably the rest of his career.
Yeah,
which is impressive.
Well, impressive. I mean, unless he has a fastball from you never know if you get in the once you get in the shark infested waters and start losing, 2, 3, 4 in a row, you could never know what happens. But hopefully he's good and he's ready to get tested like that. We'll see what happens.
And what'd you think about the kind of take that a lot of people maybe discrediting Sean Strickland a little bit by saying Uriah Hall looked off or he didn't want to be there? Because I didn't really see that. I mean, I saw that in parts, but for the most part, you saw Uriah Hall looked like he was fighting back through all that. Like, he took a couple shots where he could have gone down, like I think it was a late round where he took kind of like a knee to the head in the clinch, and he didn't even drop.
There was like, I want to say round 3, round 4, round 5. There were all moments in those rounds where he easily could have quit and let Strickland finish him, but he kept fighting and he kept coming back. But as to what you were saying, it didn't look like he wanted to be in there to some people. I saw that once it came to about the second round. I didn't see that before the fight. Before the fight, he looked like he wanted to, he wanted to kill.
Yeah.
He looked serious all week. It was business approach. It looked like there was maybe a little bit of friction between the two, just by judging by his answers he was giving to the reporters. Like, it looked like he was intense, and he wanted it. So I didn't see that he wasn't there or didn't want to be there before the fight. Round 2, though, definitely saw a change in his demeanor, definitely saw a change in how he was carrying himself, and it looked like his confidence was kind of diminishing a little bit. And I think Strickland even addressed that in his after fight presser and said that I'm pretty sure he said he thought he broke his orbital with one of those early punches, and that's kind of why he was squinting and like messing with his eye a little bit the whole fight. And that wouldn't surprise me. And maybe he didn't break his orbital, but he definitely damaged it to a point to where it affected him. And he might have only been fighting with one eye that whole fight, for all we know.
Yeah, obviously that's not going to help. But I think this, like, overall, 90% Sean Strickland being good in this fight, 10% Uriah Hall kind of being bad in this fight. I think because Uriah Hall is a proven fighter, and he's been a solid guy for a good stretch of time. He's one that, really put a beat down on Anderson Silva. I know it was a late, non-prime Anderson Silva be able to do that. I mean, no matter what, not even Israel Adesanya was able to do that, and that was only within about like a year or so of that fight. So I thought it was fine, but I just think Sean Strickland looked great. And personally, if he continues to do stuff like this, if he continues to have fun, fun interviews, he's almost like, we've all saw the highlights, and we see what Sean Strickland does during fights, or at least maybe not this one necessarily, but before this, he's one of those guys that talks and is funny as hell during a fight. Almost like what we saw from Kevin Holland, but this time Sean Strickland can actually back it up.
Yeah, he actually wins.
Right?
No offense, Kevin, I love you.
No, I love Kevin. He's funny as hell. He's one of the funniest fighters in MMA, but Sean Strickland, he goes out there, he talks his talk and walks the walk. Kevin Holland hasn't really done that in his last couple of fights, although they've been tough fights against good guys. One was a fill-in against a guy that would fight for the belt, but you know. I really think Sean Strickland could be a star in this middleweight division, and I'm super excited to see what we can get from him in the future, you know?
Yeah, same. I'm excited to see where he goes from here.